Yes, 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 people, we are back. You know what time it is. It is 7 p.m. It is Friday night settings. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good evening, in and around the world. It is your boy Errol. I am back. I've got another cartel panel with me tonight. You know this. You know the drill. Got some Arsenal fans in the building. We've got some Man United fans in the building. Dan United will be joining us as well. And we've obviously got some resident Liverpool fans in the building with us. I am joined tonight by Shane Gunner. I have got Sheik in the building. I have got Tom Little, and I have got Jamie Phillips. Lads, I will bring you all in a moment. But as discussed, I did just want to briefly touch on the fact that this has been the first Red Cartel that we went live on since the passing of Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva. I just wanted to say very briefly that everybody affected in terms of the football and world and football community is still in a period of grieving, and our thoughts have been consistent with his family, his friends, the Liverpool Football Club, and all those that need that support. I hope people are finding the right channels in order to be able to heal. There is no right and wrong way in terms of grief. Deal with it how you need to deal with it on an individual basis, and thereafter, I just hope going forward, we can all come back together and at some point celebrate the wonderful life and wonderful player that was Diogo Jota and, of course, his brother Andre Silva. So I just wanted to say that first and foremost. But because it is Friday night, I do want to lift the spirits, lift the energy in the building. Gents, how are we all feeling today? Is everybody good first and foremost?
All good, yeah.
Yeah. I just gave the kids a drink, so that's kept them quiet for about 5 minutes.
Oh, we've just done a great. If you haven't seen it, me and Jamie have just done a great show on his channel, and he's got the next Coutinho. He's got a little magician in there because there's a little Easter egg. You need to go and check the stream. There is an Easter egg and a moment that is absolutely top quality. So yeah, no, thank you for having me on again, Jamie, and I'm glad
I appreciate it.
in for this
Appreciate
as well. Tonight, lads. It's been a busy old week. It's taken the best part of 6 to 7 weeks, but it almost looks as though Manchester United have raised the bread and a bit more and the crumbs to get their big summer signing over the line. And this title has been, is it 4D chess? Big players, big expectations. There are big expectations for Manchester United because they was in the pits last season. Their league season was the worst in Premier League living memory, and they have to get reinforcements without the benefits of being in any of the European competitions. Brian Mbeumo to Manchester United has had a here we go today. Sheik, waking up to that news, I know you're stateside, bro, so waking up to that news, how did that make you feel as a United fan to finally, know 7 weeks worth of graft has gone into this and you're finally getting the guy that you want?
Yeah, it's really that. It's waking up today and actually seeing that the deal's done, because I've been waking up for the past 7 weeks and just hearing the same stuff again and again. We're close to some sort of agreement. A couple of weeks ago, I think a couple of days ago, it was that we were several millions away from an agreement. It's just been ups and downs, honestly. Like, it's felt like, the deal might be going away. There's first Tottenham that came into the picture. Thomas Frank obviously going to Spurs, and that kind of changed a little bit. Like, okay, can he be swayed to Spurs? That obviously went out of the picture. Then, Elanga deal, Kudus deal, all this money and stuff that was going around for other wingers in the Premier League. I think that kind of also affected it. But my honest thoughts are, I'm just glad it's done. It's finally over. I didn't have any doubt that it would be, it wouldn't get over the line. I knew that it would. It was just a question of how much the valuation really is, whether we're going to get to some sort of agreement. And it looks like 65 million plus 6 million in add-ons is what they basically agreed on. We started off from 45 plus 10, then we went to 55 plus 10, and now it's gone to 65 plus 6 million in add-ons. So in terms of his valuation and price, I mean, we know how the market is, and we're seeing how wingers are going. Technically, he's gone for 10 more million than Madueke. And he's, I think, in my opinion, a far, far better player than Madueke. So I always knew that his price tag would be a little bit more than that 55 million range. It was all really down to us in terms of what we were going to put up in terms of incentives and, the add-ons itself. But 65 million in today's market for a Premier League winger who scored 20 goals and had 7 assists last season, I don't think it's that crazy, to be honest. We have this whole history of Manchester United getting fleeced for players. I think in terms of this deal,
Sorry, at one
Yeah.
point that was the speculation, wasn't it? There was a little bit of a
Yeah.
hesitancy for Ineos to rise the bread
Yeah.
because they didn't. It was perceived that they might be getting the kecks pulled down again. Was he a target that you wanted as a United fan? Did you think that's someone that's attainable for us given our circumstance?
Attainable, no, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, attainable, no. It's just because after the Europa League final, just the low that our club was in and the season that we've had, it just felt like why would certain players want to come to this mess of a club? Like why would, other than money, other than obviously, players being on low wages and going to other like big clubs to get a higher weekly wage, there's no other reason technically for a lot of these players to come to our club. Cunha is a different deal because that's a release clause that we ended up paying. I'm not sure if there were a lot of other clubs at the top of my head that were in for that release clause, but both these players made it known that they wanted to join United. The moment where we tried to, spark some sort of interest, both these players made it a priority that they would want to come to Manchester United Football Club. So I think that kind of helped us in this situation. But after the Europa League final, I say this all the time, if you had told me that a month later or, a month and a half later, you're going to have Cunha and Mbeumo at your club, I probably would have laughed. And I would have been like, there's no way that two of these players who've done well specifically in this past season in the Premier League, I think sharing about maybe 35 to almost 40 GNA just between them, I had no clue that they would be at our club. And then also considering how we are when it comes to the sale of our players. Like we've seen us lift an FA Cup a year ago, and then our fan base said that some of these players are okay to stay. I thought it would be a situation like that again, where we're going to do some sort of revisionism and fans are going to be like, oh, it's okay for these guys to be, to stay here. How are we going to get rid of them? How are we going to get rid of these players that are on high wages? All these conversations. So I didn't think it was attainable. Am I happy that he's joined our club? Of course, because like I rate Mbeumo as a player. Prior to that, I think there were a lot of other clubs linked to Mbeumo too. I think Spurs. The initial tweet that we got from David Ornstein said that Newcastle, Spurs. They mentioned Arsenal, but I didn't think Arsenal was in for him like that, to be honest, because they're looking more for like backups. And yeah, and Mbeumo is someone who I think would wanted to have probably started there. But yeah, it's just like I'm happy that we got a player like him. The price tag and stuff, I'm not really wondering too much, like worrying too much about it. But that does come with expectations, which you did mention in the beginning too. Like I don't think he can replicate his 20 goals the way that he did again, because it's a different system, different manager, Thomas Frank. You don't have that much pressure at Brentford that you did, especially after Tony left, for you to get goals, for you to get assists, and you're playing alongside Wissa too, who helps you out a lot as a player as well. It's a little bit different situation here. I think we're looking for him to be a creator. I think we're looking for him to be an outlet on that right-hand side. I think we're looking for him to kind of take pressure off of the rest of our attack. So it's really important why we've gotten Cunha and Mbeumo on both sides, because then that also takes a little bit of the weight off of the shoulders of whichever striker we end up getting. Because immediately after we signed Mbeumo, there was a tweet from Fabrizio saying that we're now looking to get a striker and that our main target now is going to be a striker. Who it's going to be, I have no clue. There's obviously names thrown around with all big football clubs at the end of the day about, this guy's being linked, he's being linked. I've heard Jackson links. I've heard Dominic Calvert-Lewin links. I've heard all different types of players. But in terms of, just back to the conversation of Mbeumo, I rate him and I'm happy about the signing. I'm just glad that it's finally done so that we can actually focus on other things that we need to do at the club as well, like player sales. I still think we need to get a new goalkeeper. Andre Onana's just got injured. I don't rate him at all anyways, but now that he's actually gotten injured, that makes, the squad depth in that position a lot less now too. Bayindir is not good enough to even be a backup currently at this moment. We haven't seen anything really from him. So we do need to go out there and get a goalkeeper. A midfielder is very, very important. I keep emphasizing all the time, we cannot go through the rest of the season with Ugarte, Casemiro, and Bruno Fernandes playing in those pivot positions. Kobbie Mainoo, I know he's at the club, but the manager doesn't want to play him in that pivot position. I don't think he needs to be there either. So we need to go out there and get a midfielder and the striker. Like I said, of course, like I've been saying this, I'm okay with someone like a Mateta, someone of that decent Prem quality that can play alongside those two, the left 10 and the right 10 being in Cunha and Mbeumo, and I think that will help them out quite a lot. So I'm happy with the signing. I just want to see what we do more in terms of the business. We have a preseason game literally tomorrow, I think, against Leeds United in Sweden. And then we're traveling to the USA to play a summer series, preseason tour, and all that type of stuff very, very soon. So Mbeumo should be a part of that. Cunha is obviously traveling tomorrow. And we'll see who we can get until that Arsenal game. Because now, just simply off of our attack in that Arsenal game, we would have probably started with Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund, and Ahmad maybe playing in that front three. But now we have Cunha, whichever striker we get, or Xerxes if he ends up playing, and Mbeumo now starting in that front three against Arsenal, which is obviously good for us. So I wouldn't say I'm not gassed. And I also will say this: I think another thing that they mentioned about the whole deal with Ineos was we're going to be paying this deal in installments. So it's like 4 different installments that we're paying Brentford in, which means that in terms of cash, we only ended up putting about 20 million up for him this season, and it's the same thing for Cunha as well. So I think, again, when we go back to the conversations of Ineos don't have money, they need to sell players, they kind of have shown that with how they've structured this deal. So I think we still need to sell players. That's still going to be a big conversation. Garnacho is not part of the squad traveling to the game tomorrow, so he looks like he's for sure going to be sold, along with a couple other players like Rashford, Sancho. These are all guys that we do know. But yeah, I'm happy about the signing, and we have a lot more work to do. So job's not finished, like Hobie said. But yeah, job's not finished, and let's see what else we can get, who we identify, and all these different positions, and selling players and all that stuff too.
This is why I like listening to you talk about your football club, Sheikh, because you are far too balanced to be a Man United fan. Like, real talk, like that is such a balanced way of explaining and breaking down how Manchester United have got themselves into this particular position. And I'm like, bro, they don't deserve you as a fan. Like, I'd roll out the red carpet at this point because we could do with more balanced fans like this. But I'll ask the rest of the lads, and again, in no particular order, lads, just kind of chip in as in which you want. Forget the price tag for a moment. Manchester United have got Cunha and now they've got Mbeumo. Are they going to be serious upgrades to try and get them back up the table? And I'm not saying they're going to push for Champions League or Premier League, title races, but are these the type of signings that Manchester United in their current shape should be looking to nail down? And should it really be taking them 7 weeks to wrap up 2 players?
No. I mean, I think United have gone in a way in the last few years of buying players from, out of Europe that, have got a lot of PR against their name, but they don't suit the way any manager wants to play. There's no position for them. They spend a lot of money, give them massive wages, can't get them off the books. And they've been going down that way. And this time they've looked in within the league that they play in, and I've seen 2 players there that at this moment in time improves their team. United struggle for goals. Brian and Mbeumo will get goals for Man United. Cunha last season, was fantastic for Wolves. And he knows the Premier League. He will get goals in this league for Man United. So I think for United themselves, they've gone down a transfer rabbit hole in recent years, and now they've looked in the league that they play in and seen there is good players there. And I think what Man United have to do, they're a massive, massive football club, but the way they've been for the last few years, they've almost got to start again, and work their way up, and don't just think, right, let's go and get Ronaldo from again at 36 years of age and give him monster wages. I think that's going to propel us to 21 and 22 and 23 league titles.
That wasn't for footballing reasons, though, was it?
No, it was just PR. It's just PR reasons.
Commercial.
That's what United have gone away from now by the look of it. And I think it's 2 very good signings for United. It shouldn't have taken 7 weeks to get Mbeumo through the door, to be fair. I mean, it should be a straightforward bit of business there. I mean, no matter how bad United were last year, Brentford to Man United is a step up. There's no doubt about that. So, Mbeumo was never not going to come. So I don't know why it took so long. You got to get him through the door. I've seen United act quicker on worse footballers, to be fair, and give them stupid wages. Maybe United are learning at last, Look, as a Liverpool fan, I never want them to learn. Do you know what I mean? But it looks like they're learning. And if they can get a striker as well, then yeah, I think I saw rumours today of Benjamin Sesko. I think it was David Ornstein who was talking about it today about Benjamin Sesko. Tom's laughing already because Tom hates Benjamin Sesko. But
You
Right,
would basically just
that
waste
might-
Cunha and Mbeumo with Sesko. Please do.
that'd be an interesting one. I think he's not much different to what Højlund is as a presence on the pitch that you guys have got already. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what you guys do as a striker with Kobe Mainu, like you were saying there. I think Kobe Mainu's more of like a 10, more should play a bit nearer the forward line. You know, he's not a pivot player. He hasn't got that defensive awareness about him to play in that part of the pitch. So you want to free him up and use his skill set to the best. But if I was a Man United manager, Man United fan at the moment, I'd still be worried about the manager. I really do, because I don't know if 3 at the back works long term in the Premier League. And I think you've got to have exceptional players in every position to make his system work. And I don't know if Man United are going to be doing that for him in the next few years. That's the problem.
I just Cunha and Mbeumo are good players. They had very good seasons last year, ones which they most likely will not replicate because the outliers with their numbers were so extreme. And I feel that in that United system has still got many, many questions and many, many holes in it. Mainly, I don't know why I've been talked about much this summer. That midfield is awful for a Premier League midfield. If you're adding Mbeumo and Cunha as your 10s, you're losing an element of the defence. Your 10s won't defend. Cunha and Mbeumo aren't great defensively. So then
to be fair to Mbeumo, though, he's a hard worker. He is a grafter.
Yeah, there's a difference between hard work and actual like defensive effort, defensive quality, though.
Yeah.
So what they lose by having 2 attackers there, yes, they're a bit more of a threat going forwards. But considering that I'm hearing that it's going to be Ahmad at right wing back, Dorgo or a stupid at left wing back with Cunha and Mbeumo and Sesko, I'm sitting there going, your pivot is going to get ran through. Way too
how many
easy.
goals? How many goals did Man United score last season?
44 Premier League
44
goals.
So, as much as you can say defensively, they're going to be a bit of a liability. Can we see a situation where it's going to be a little bit Brendan Rodgers?
They might go. They might go from losing 1-0 to 3-2.
Yeah, that's what I was literally alluding to. Are they going to go to be that kind of team now?
No, but Tom is right, though, because if you think about it, so we heard about the whole news of Bruno Fernandes potentially leaving. Obviously, he's not going now. He's not going to play in those 10 positions. He's going to be in that pivot, which is where we saw him. Yeah, which is where we saw him in that Europa League final. So that's why I keep emphasizing this all the time, that I am so concerned about our midfield of what we're actually going to do, because Bruno is just an outright start. Like, he's going to start there. He's going to be in this team. He's going to start there. He's not going to start any of those 10 positions. So he's going to be playing in that pivot. Now, if you put Bruno in that pivot, you already lose out on so many things then and there. Defensively, hoofing the ball. He's going to try
metronome. There's no metronome and they're keeping it ticking.
The only thing that that I'm thinking of why Ruben's going to use him there is trying to use him as like this deep lying playmaker, which he's going to be spamming balls to Cunha and to Mbeumo every single time, going to stretch out the pitch every single time. But when it comes to the actual defensive abilities and keeping the ball, that's where he lacks so much as a player. And we're going to struggle when it comes to stuff like that.
It doesn't help that his partner is going to cover them deficiencies, though. So, like, you've got Bruno there. That you can get away with playing a Bruno type if you've got an elite defensive midfielder next to him. You've got Casemiro, who can barely run anymore, and Ugarte, who can run and kick shins, and that's it. You don't have the ideal partner for a Fernandes. So what's going to end up happening a lot next year, I feel, is that United are going to face teams that on paper they should batter, and they will lose every single midfield battle. And they might score a couple of goals because Fernandes does have the quality to play a long ball, and they do have pace in wide areas. But if you're asking me right now, do I think Manchester United could go away to a Fulham and win that midfield battle? No, they get battered every single game. 100 times out of 100, Fernandes and Casemiro, or Fernandes and Ugarte, or Fernandes and Maiden does not win a single Premier League midfield battle.
No. There was games last season, though.
There
was games last season when he dropped Fernandes back in, when he dropped them deeper, when United were losing, and they did look better. But it's only when they were chasing the game, when they were pushing forward. They looked even weaker defending. But You see, people always do this with the first 11. This is how the first 11 is going to be. But 3 or 4 games into the season, you have injuries, suspensions, you have all that other stuff that comes in. That Fernandes will go back up top. Maybe Mbeumo will play up front. Maybe he's looking at different. I do hope for United's sake that Cunha and Mbeumo are Amarin signings and not club signings, because the only thing I'll give him credit for is the one player he was allowed get in Dorgu does seem to suit his system. He actually does seem to suit it. So if he can get in players that he's picked, maybe they'll suit the system. But I do fear for United next season.
But is that a mistake? So let me just ask you directly, though. Is that a mistake on United's part, though, in a sense that if they go down this road of getting Amarin his players again, and it doesn't seem to bear fruit, and they are miles off the pace, all of a sudden you could find themselves in another situation. And here's another good person to ask, really. I'll Dan United big up. I'll ask the question again. If United buy Amarin players and Amarin doesn't hit the ground running, do United end up in a situation where the next manager that comes in says, I don't really like the look of that Dogu. I don't really like the look of it, Cunha. Or are they buying players quality enough to fit that system, and any manager should be able to get a tune out of them?
That's been the problem with United for a few cycles now with managers. That they've been signing players either that the club see as PR or that don't suit the system or only suit one system. See, the problem with Amarin does need to learn to switch a system. And I'm saying this as an Arsenal fan. Arteta refuses to change. He doesn't have a plan B, you know what I mean? So I know what it's like. But if he's coming in and thinking that he can just play the same formation, it's exactly that, what you said. When the next manager comes in, and if he's a 4-3-3 guy or he's a 4-2-3-1, he's suddenly stuck with a load of players that are just literally stuck to one formation. But I imagine that Dorgu could play as a left back. I wonder if Amarin will learn now and come in and say, right, I need to switch it up for certain games, or I need to change. The only problem he has is that, does he have 2 centre backs that could play with it as a 4? I don't think there's 2 centre backs there that won't get run over if they play as a 4. Like Maguire can't play as 2 centre backs. He gets found out every time. The only reason that he was good for England under Southgate, the only time he played well was when he played 3 at the back. He's not good enough. You know what I mean? That they do need to play 3 at the back. And until they sign 2 centre-backs that can handle 2 at the back,
well, they've got Errol and who's the other one?
Errol,
yeah. Maybe they take the step up and probably take the reins if they did go back to a back 4, and it was a bit of a flat back 4. Dan United, here we go. Brian Mbeumo, you've been one that's pretty confident. Well, pretty much from the start, and a lot of our group chats and the conversations we've had. What's your kind of initial feelings on the fact that it's getting to that announcement stage?
Yeah, buzzing. Big up, everyone. It took much longer than anticipated. And I've got a couple of theories as to why now and not a couple of weeks ago. And I've also got a couple of theories as to what this does with our future transfers. Now, for me, obviously we know Manchester United aren't the big spenders that they were a couple of years ago. I just kind of feel like they had to push this deal, regardless of what was needed for it, to then be able to focus on the other signings. We're on the 18th of July now. This couldn't have rolled on for another week or so, getting so much closer to the start of the season, just having the 2 signings potentially, with Leon, you could say, third. But I go back to the point about Amarin's formation. It's no secret that what they're trying to do here when they bring the players in now is have players that can play multiple positions. And that says to me that I think we will see a slight a possibility that Amarin will be open to moving that formation around this season. He come in last season, he absolutely saw that we were absolutely dominated. In Europe, it worked. In Europe, we were fine when we played European sides. The formation was fine, but in the Premier League, got found out quite quick. So I kind of feel confident. I don't feel.
To just come in there as well. I don't think he could look like what Ten Hag did and change things midway through a season to kind of, stop the rot essentially. But from a position of strength, a new season going in with a new outlook, I think people would accept that that's a bit of growth in a sense, to understand that you're in a different league. You might have to operate differently, but it doesn't look like a weak move because he's starting a new season implementing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's facts. And, the goal for me this season, people have been asking me on my channel so many times, where do you see us finishing? Is it Champions League? Are we doing this? I don't care where we finish as long as we get European football. And I mean that. I'll sit here and say that with chest. We're not at the same well as Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea. I'd say Newcastle, but they don't know how to make a signing at the moment. We're not at the same well as that. We are literally just focusing on now completing what we're trying to do, getting the young lads involved. I think we'll make 3 more signings after Brian today. I honestly do. I think we'll get a goalkeeper, a striker, and a midfielder, and then we'll see where we go from there. But I honestly, I've sat here and listened to a lot of people say, Amorim shit, get him out, he's a laugh. I take it, absolutely take it. I think this guy will do all right this season. Now, when I say all right, by your standards, by your group of people's standards, all right is Champions League, of course it is. For me, looking at where this team has been for such a long time and how we've scummed a couple of cup wins here and there, I think this was what we needed. I absolutely think this is what we needed. We've been buying players that were never worth the money for too long. He's come in. I mean, the big thing for me, for Amorim to come in and we play Leeds tomorrow and not one of those players that he has said he doesn't want anywhere near the squad to be anywhere near it, that is already progression at Manchester United, because too many times have we tried to get rid of players and it's been a player bigger than the club, and they've said, well, I ain't going. And we've said, okay, we'll get you back in. So I'm positive, absolutely positive, but my expectations aren't as high as what I think your gentlemen's would be.
Okay, interesting. Well, segueing from Manchester United, there's been more announcements. It's not hashtag 14, Nonny 14. It's more like Nonny 20. Shane, 50, is it 55 mil or is it 50 mil? 52 million pounds, British sterling, for Nonny Madueke from Chelsea Football Club. You seem to have a really incestuous relationship with Chelsea Football Club. Whatever they want to do, you want to do as well at some point, but you'll do it a couple of years after. In another world, there's a thing called sloppy seconds, lad, and it almost feels a little bit like that for me. But that's me from the outside looking in. You're in the thick of it as an Arsenal fan, mate. Underwhelmed, ecstatic, elated. What's the initial thoughts and feelings of getting your guy over the line before we move on to potentially the big target for Arsenal?
I'm absolutely disgusted with it, if I'm honest with you, but it doesn't surprise me. That's the thing. I wasn't shocked. In fact, a few weeks ago, I was on a panel show and I said, half jokingly, I bet you will end up with Madueke, and everybody laughed, and I said, but would you be shocked? And they went, no, I wouldn't be shocked, actually. The fact that it's 48.5 million straight down money, and we're haggling over 2.5 million euro for Gyökeres, it's insanity. Also, apparently Arteta's wanted this guy for a year to play him out the left. He wants to play him out the left, where he started 7 games last season for Chelsea, scored 0, assisted 0 out the left. This thing with Chelsea, it all comes back to Arteta's narcissism.
Well,
it's his narcissism,
bro. You've literally just because
it's his narcissism. He keeps getting it wrong.
That we don't. He sees things that we don't, which is fine.
That's why he does it, though. That's why he does it. The more he gets,
do you think he gets a kick out of it?
He does. He doubles down like all narcissists. He's getting stick for taking Chelsea players, so he'll keep doing it until he gets one right, and then he go, "I told you so." There's not one of them that's worked out. Not one of them is right. He will keep doing it until he gets it right, and then he go, "I told you." What I don't understand
is when Chelsea were at their pomp or on the way to their pomp, they see in your team at the time you had one of the best left backs in the country.
Yeah.
We'll have Ashley Cole.
I thought they are in their pomp. I thought they're the best team in the world at the moment. That's what I'm hearing every day on Twitter.
That's what I'm hearing every day. I know. Same to be fair. But there was some truth to that. They thought he's the best up-and-coming left back. Arsenal potential rivals, but we're on the up. We want him. Why haven't you gone to Chelsea and got Cole Palmer?
That's the thing. That's the thing. And do you know what? Do you know what makes it even more? That proves how ridiculous it is. He flew over there like a week ago, right? Chelsea had the Club World Cup final. You didn't hear them go, no, hang around until the final. They're off you go. You know what I mean? They didn't care if he left. If Madrid had come in and said, here's 150 million for Cole Palmer, and he said, I want to go, and the transfer was done, they'd say,
whoa, yeah.
Madrid,
do you mind waiting until the final?
Just to have him in Trent in the club for the.
That's what I mean. They say, listen, would you mind waiting until after the final? But with Madueke, you're like, here, we'll pack your bag for you. Off you go. But out of every signing we've made is underwhelming. Every signing we've made is a backward. I'm getting pelters on my channel because I am insisting, and I'll stand with this. We're finished. No, he's going to get swamped. So look what happened against United. Look what happened against United.
Say that. Yeah,
he got absolutely swamped.
You watched the
first game at Old Trafford. The first game at Old Trafford. Amorim's going to turn around to his players and say, the second Raya rolls the ball out to him, you swamp him, and he will make mistakes. When you sign a player like that, you know, you can do it with Wirtz. Liverpool can do it with Wirtz. They don't necessarily have to start him first game of the season. They could have him on the bench, bring him on when it's 1-0 for the first few games, and then edge him in. This lad's getting thrown straight into, and it's a number 6 position as well, and it's a high press that he's not used to. And then we have Liverpool away, third game of the season, the best high press team in the world. He's going to start making mistakes at the start. So I have us finishing outside the top 4 next season, almost guaranteed. I think we're going to finish.
Wow!
Without a doubt, we're finishing outside the top 4. We are finishing outside of all of these injuries that we had this season. They're going to be worse next season.
Do you know what?
We have 8 players coming back from operations.
Look at Tom's face. Do
you know what it is? Do you know what it is with Arsenal? When I watch Arsenal a lot, Arsenal have always been the ones they've been chasing City and Liverpool the last few years, yeah. And in that meantime, they've not got over the line. But at the same time, everyone else is now starting to catch Arsenal up. Yeah, and I don't think this summer window so far for Arsenal, because Gyökeres is not official yet. So we keep Gyökeres out of this at the moment. I don't think Arsenal have done enough to say they're going to pull away from Chelsea next year and pull away from Liverpool and pull away. Because I actually think your midfield is weaker than it was last season.
414 million down, by the way, building that midfield.
I think Jorginho is a good player. I think he can come in certain games. He's better than Norgard. Thomas Partey's better than Zubimendi at that job. I'm not. And Madueke as a left wing, if he's literally going to be your left winger next season instead of that's just balmy. That's
will be. And the thing
I think it's a brilliant setup personally. I think it's a brilliant setup. You're playing a left wing. You're playing a right winger who's left-footed. So what you're going to do is he's naturally going to run down the line and cross it in, which hasn't been a style that's worked for the past 15 years. But whatever, Mikel Arteta knows more than we do. And then what you're going to do is you're going to cross it in to the £65 million striker who has scored a grand total of 0 headers in the past 2 years.
This is the thing. But this is the thing, because Arteta he didn't want Gyökeres. Let's get that
straight. He wanted Benjamin Sesko because he's good in the air.
He wanted Sesko because he could play long ball to him, because he could rotate Havertz in for him, because we know he doesn't want to drop Havertz. And for once, he tried this last summer, and Sesko said, no, I'm going to wait a year. But he only had Edu there, and Edu went, okay, if you don't want a striker, because Arteta, like a baby, said, well, if I can't get him, I don't want a striker then, I'll wait a year. He risked the league on it. He waited a year. Then we have Burton now who said, well, okay, I'm not messing around with Sesko anymore. They're playing hardball. You're getting a striker. Here's your striker. The thing is, Gyökeres, these balls play through the middle. He's not a striker that gets. Who's going to do it? Odegaard?
Does he know what I mean? Though, Shane, does like keeping it a book? Does having someone like that with the ability and the firepower and the record that he's got over the last couple of years, does he enable Arsenal to kick on? Or am I asking too much? I've said in the title, big players, big expectations. From a Liverpool fan's perspective, I'll be 100% with you. I ain't here for the excuses next season. You've got your striker. Everything that all the Arsenal fans have been telling me, whether I'm on Potter's show, whether
it's the only one they have left. It's the only excuse. Yeah, the only one. But now they'll switch it though. They'll switch it and say he didn't get his striker. They'll say he didn't get his striker. He wanted Sesko. If they had I'm telling you, man. I have them all lined up.
My heart went
I'm hearing Bertha phase 1 now as well.
He didn't get his £65 million.
I guarantee you that's what they'll say. I guarantee you will say.
It's like having a window open on Chrome and now you're just doing extra tabs. To just be this isn't the same.
There's no list of excuses. I heard that Tom Canton say recently that Arteta has improved every single attacking player. He hasn't improved one of them. Not one of them. They've all gone backwards under. But this is what you're dealing with as an Arsenal fan. It's infuriating. So I'm not just saying we're going to. I thought you joke. All right, okay. No. I wanted to chat out for 2.5 years, 2 years maybe. He only tricked me in 22-23. He tricked me in 22-23. I started to think, okay, maybe. And then when we bottled it, I went, I'll get rid of it.
So I should ask you, Errol, too. Are you concerned about Arsenal? And Liverpool fans, are you concerned about Arsenal?
If Arsenal, real talk though, if Arsenal are able, and Shane just kind of alluded to it there, 22-23, if Arsenal can get back to that style of football with an actual striker in front of goal, and it might be gone and it might be too far gone, because I even remember saying to Potts, that was your chance. Yeah. But if you can get back to that style and have that confidence, Arteta namely take the handbrake off and allow you to play to his strengths. My competition's always Liverpool have to do plus 90 points, and if someone's in and around you, then you're in a title race. But I also think if Arsenal can gear themselves up in that way and still then probably drop in another 2 players that bolster the squad, I can't look past them to try. But for me, it's, do they have the hunger and the desire? When we lost the league, in, I want to say 18, 19, and went on to win the Champions League, or the year after, whichever number it is. When we won the Champions League, the hate of losing the league spurred us on the following season. You haven't had that yet. And that's what worries me about
Arsenal.
Have
big game players, though. You have big personalities. Arteta got rid of every personality. He doesn't like them. He doesn't like having anyone with personality. He wants all the yes men. That's why Odegaard's his captain. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have those. When he won the FA Cup, he still had Aubameyang, and he still had Ozil, and he still had Guendouzi, and he still had Martinez. He had players that will step up and take the game by the scruff of the neck. That's why we can't get past semi-finals. We don't have those players. In the last 7 semi-final matches we played under Arteta, we scored 1 goal. 1 single goal in 7 semi-final matches under this manager. You know, these are the stats that they sweep under the carpet. This is the most protected manager I've ever seen in the history of the Premier League. He doesn't get asked questions.
Second highest paid manager as well.
And 6 years, about to be 6 years deep into a job. That is rare.
19 competitions he's entered.
Can I ask, how long do the players start believing in this manager continuing? Because
that's a good question.
Again,
it's been 5 years, like Errol just said there. When Liverpool were competing with that City team for Premier League trophies, we were still picking up trophies at the end of the season, even though they weren't the Premier League trophies. So it gave the players hunger that they can win things. With Arteta at the moment, obviously he came in that October time and went and won the FA Cup with, and then he's got all them. Most of them players are gone now, apart from a couple, and
all of them.
That's his team now, right? That's his team, and they pretty much won nothing. How long does a Saka go? How long does the Gabriel go and go? It's a 6th year now, and still nothing. And I think I watched Liverpool come from nowhere last season and get like Arsenal bigging it up that Liverpool are not there anymore. It's us and City all the way, and they go and win the league, and then they go and have the window they're having right now. And how long do Arsenal players themselves keep believing in this manager? Because if these players are as good as they think they can be, and this manager is not taking them to where they think they can, they will eventually fall out. It's just natural. So I think Arteta's got the most pressure on him this season out of all the managers.
Not internally, apparently. And I'd say about 90% of our fan base are Arteta in. About 90%.
Do you think you're in the 10%? Really?
Oh, easily. Without a shadow of a doubt, man. Without a shadow of a doubt. Because all our major channels who have all the sway, you know the ones I'm talking about, they protect him. So once they protect him, he's fine.
Why is he protected? I don't get it.
Because I think these a lot of it is the fan base are they need to be told that everything's great all the time, and then a lot of the channels then eat off that, and they feed these guys hope. That's their job. They come in, they tell them Norgaard's great. Look at this heat map. Look at this. Look at that. And instead of just going, this is a terrible sign, and they're bigging up Mad Wakey now. And come on.
But if I told you if I told these Arsenal fans last season, oh, by the way, I've seen the future. You go by Norgaard. They tell me to shut up.
They turn on you. They turn on you.
Yeah.
But Jamie, if you used to turn around and say you don't win the league in May, and then your summer signings on Norgaard and
Mad Wakey and Kepa.
Heads would fall off.
Some Arsenal fans are saying that Berta is doing a masterclass up until Mad Wakey.
No. The only thing he's doing is the only player he's signing that isn't an Arteta signing so far is Gyökeres, and that is done. It's basically done, right? Yeah, but if he scores 20 league goals next season, I'll be astonished, absolutely astonished, because the way we play football. And he won't change his tactics with this. But to answer the question about players getting their head turned, Saliba's head has already turned. He wants out. You can see it in him. He wants out. And I'd sell him if he wanted out. And then when in terms of the Timber interview that got buried, I don't know if you saw that Timber interview. It was kept under wraps. Did you not see that? He came out and basically said...
The one where he kept saying the manager kept playing me when I was injured.
Playing him injured. He needed an operation in his heel. He injured his ankle then in the same foot. While he also had a calf injury. He couldn't walk and train. Arteta said, I need you for tomorrow, Jury, and I need you. Played him for 2 or 3 months when he needed an operation. At the start of the season, when Timber was out, he played Ben White for 3 months when he needed a knee operation. Played him on a knee injury. Ben White's never going to be the same again, by the way. Then you have Saka with a grade 3 hamstring, Havertz with a grade 3 hamstring, and Gabriel with a grade 3 hamstring. And only 3% of hamstring injuries are grade 3.
You've got
Jesus is ACL as well. Tommy Asu, we had to let go because of the injuries. Odegaard's needed an operation through last season. So when these players start talking,
realistically,
he's a narcissist.
Do you place all of that accountability on
every bit of it? Every bit of it.
All the backroom staff that are the
no, because if you listen to the Timber one, they told him that all the backroom staff can say is he is not fit to play, and then they have to leave it with him, and he makes the decision. because he was the one that said that he played Ben White for 3 months when he needed a knee operation. He openly admitted it. So it's down to him. Timber was saying that he was telling him, "I can't walk, boss. I can't walk. You'll be fine tomorrow. I need you tomorrow."
Did he do an interview where he put Arteta under the bus a bit?
Yeah, but it's fairly swept under the carpet. A lot of people haven't seen it. And then we asked certain Arsenal YouTubers when they're on panels, Lee and stuff, have asked them, "Why didn't you cover that?" "Oh no, I can't cover that. Can't cover that." So they admit to not covering it. You know what I mean? So this is the problem with our fan base. It's so lopsided.
It's very split, ain't it? It's very, yeah.
But that's why I thought it was more like 60-40, 70-30.
About 10%.
In the 10%. That seems crazy to me. All right, then. So before we move on, what for you do Arsenal have to do for you to not finish outside of the top 4? Then what is the target in your own mind that you think that's attainable? We should be attacking them. We should be going after them. What is it that you think is realistic that Arsenal have neglected to do so far?
Sack the manager is the only way. Honestly, I know that sounds terrible, but it's the only way. It's the only way. I've said this before. If we sacked him tomorrow, and a new manager who knew what he was doing came in, a Hansi Flick or something like that, we'd suddenly have one of the most exciting midfields in the league, because he'd suddenly go, right, Ranieri, you're back up 10, Lewis Skelly, you're back up 8, and suddenly the midfield looks stacked. But this manager's decided that Ranieri's a right winger.
Who do you honestly think you can entice as a manager, though, if he was to go?
If we can pay them 15 million a year like he's getting, you could pretty much get
anyone.
Anyone.
I
take Mancini. Mancini doesn't have a job. I take Mancini tomorrow. Mancini can come in and get it done.
I've heard the more positive Arsenal fans on a lot of the time say there's no one else out there, and that's why they don't want
ridiculous.
To go.
But that's the insanity of it. That's the insanity. It's trying to argue with them. It's exhausting. It's really exhausting.
There's loads of great managers out there. Loads of great managers.
There's loads of great man. This guy's a fraud, an absolute fraud. He got lucky that 22, 23, it fell on his lap, and then when it backfired, he couldn't handle it. It's PTSD, so he went ultra lockup. And people are saying he needs a squad depth this season. It makes no difference. If he had 40 players, he would still play the same 11 until they drop. It's what he does. He never rotates. We were 5-0 up against Lens a year ago, and Saka played 70-something games in a row. He left them on. 5-0 up at half-time. He left them on till the 85th minute. You know what I mean? Now, these are the things. You look at Salah was asked on the pitch after he won the league, what's the difference between Slot and Klopp? And he said, he doesn't make me track back as much. And look at his numbers, how they shot up. Look, he was a different player because he's an attacking player. I'm not saying attacking players shouldn't track back, but our attacking players do 80% of their running backwards. They all do it backwards. And Martinelli, he's fallen off a cliff. That guy will never be the same again. Saka with the injury, I don't know if he's going to be the same again. Gabriel will be 6 months without football when the season starts if he gets the ball played over the top against United. And if United beat us, which I have a sneaky feeling they might, suddenly we have Leeds at home. That looks very, very tough. And then we have Liverpool away. Then we have Newcastle away on the 6th game of the season. We could be 7-8 points behind because City will finish ahead of us, Liverpool will finish ahead of us, Newcastle will finish ahead of us, and I have a sneaky feeling if Chelsea get a keeper, they'll finish ahead of us. And then you have to remember Villa won't have Champions League. They can rest for every game in the group stage of the Europa League. You know what I mean? So I just see us falling right off next season. You can count out both domestic cups because he bins them off every year. He's only got to the 4th round twice since he won it. He's only got past 2, 3.
I think he's spot on about all of this because it's like you have to realize this is the 6th year, right? This is the year where you have to win. Like most Arsenal fans talk about winning the major trophy. The reality is you haven't even won any of the domestic competitions.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of fans who are still like I work with sometimes. They tell me, I ask them, I'm like, would you be okay with an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup? They say no, we want to win the major trophies currently at this moment. So if that is the case, you have your rivals. Yeah, like you have your rivals,
that's the problem.
Liverpool, Man City, going out there and buying players who, by the way, they're not backups. They start right away. They improve their team right away. But y'all are too worried about like we need to sort out this depth in that position. We need to get this situated. We need to get that figured out. If you were a serious club, like SA and all these guys would be here so far. They would already be at the club.
It's going to sound stupid, but I almost think that if Arsenal won the Carabao Cup this year, it's arguably more damaging than if they won nothing. Because if they win nothing, they can at least claim blissful ignorance. They can at least claim. It's not even that though. If they don't win anything, they can at least claim blissful ignorance and the project. We just wait for the project to finish. Yeah. If they win a Carabao Cup, we're sitting there going, so such and such's project after 6 years had a league, a Champions League, and 2 cups. Such and such after 6 years had 2 leagues, a Champions League, yada. You after 6 years have an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup, and we're supposed to think your project is the best one.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily work that way.
I had a grown man, Arsenal fan, say to me, a grown man, I'd say he was in his 40s, said, I don't really want Gyökeres. I said, why? Oh, because he takes penalties, and that means Saka won't take penalties, and his numbers will drop. Grown man.
What the hell?
Maybe just put Saka in his FPL team.
What? Yeah. What? The chat. Try and clock that one and figure it out and wrap their heads around it. There is over 300 of you, nearly 350 people live in the building with us today. Thank you very much. My boy here says, kiss my teeth, I was late. Well, you know what to do. Lateness is greatness sometimes. So make sure you are dropping likes and subscribing to the channel as well. And make sure that you do. We will do a shout out for all these lads' channels as well before we wrap up. Make sure you do follow all of the contributors on the platform, on the panel with me, because they are pumping out some really good content for us over this summer transfer period, keeping you all guys locked and updated. I feel like it is going to be a rough old time for Arsenal. I don't feel like there's much light at the end of the tunnel at this moment in time. I still personally think they are a few starting signings away. I do disagree to an extent that I think he has to take all 4 competitions seriously, and I think that's where the bolstering of the squad has happened in my eyes up until now. It's to be able to drop in players in the 3rd and 4th round of the FA Cup without dropping the level too much and having enough for some of those Premier League teams, League One teams, Championships, all the rest of it. But only time will tell. I've got a question for the Liverpool lads in the chat, because there's a lot of speculation about who the new number 9 is going to be, who should be the guy that we spend our money on. But before we think about who we should spend our money on, this is where we're probably going to see a little bit of a division. Tom, Jamie, Darwin Núñez, are we keeping him or are we selling him? What are you saying?
Okay. Tom's favourite player, man. Tom's favourite player.
Oh, yeah. I just love my strikers who can't score goals. I'm not doing 1 more year. I'm not doing a 4th year. I can't put myself through a 4th year. I can't. He's not happy in that role, for one. He wants to go play regularly. I don't want to put... I feel the crimes I committed in the previous life do not warrant this punishment for a 4th year of Darwin Núñez at my club as the number 9. So I feel that it's best for all parties if we move on. You got a wonderful moment against Preston. Great, wonderful goal, wonderful heartfelt moment with the celebration. Go. I'm not even saying Saudi. I'm not in desperate need of your money. I just need your gun. I just cannot put myself through it again and again and again. I'm not insane. I'm not doing the same thing over and over again, expecting it to change. If I'm going to get a new number 9 through the door, who has the thing that Núñez doesn't have, which is actual technical quality, which is what seemingly my striker needs. I mean, the part that gets lost on me is the manager didn't play him last year. What's going to change now?
He's had a haircut, Tom. He's chopped off the braids, bro. Like, he's locked in.
Are you serious?
That's not how the story goes, though.
I know.
The story's supposed to be you got powers with long hair, not without them. I'm what he lives to the story and loses his powers. He only 6 goals. What do I get now? 3.
Well, I said this before on Jamie's channel, and I'll say it again. I think, like in any good Marvel movie, especially in a Spider-Man, there are canon events that happen in people's lives, particularly in Peter Parker's life. And the passing of Uncle Ben was a canon moment. And no matter which ripple effect of whatever multi-strand multiverse you're in, that happens in every single one, and it changes Spider-Man to become the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that we love and know. Mm-hmm. I think Darwin Núñez has had his canon event this summer, and it's not the nicest thing to say, but I think there's a level of maturity that then comes out of it, and that it's a narrative that I'm hoping I can put out there to the universe, and it gives me something. But I'm just not ready to give up on Darwin yet. Jamie, tell me I'm not going crazy, bro. Tell me.
I can't tell you that, but but no, look. As I said, I've got Darwin seems like a great guy himself, but I think we just need to move on. Like,
do you understand how bad it is when our praise of Núñez, he seems like a lovely
guy. He's a great guy. He seems like a lovely guy. He's a lovely guy.
It's not about like footballing ability. It's just he's a great guy.
I just don't think he's got the footballing ability where Liverpool are now at the level Liverpool
have
are.
We got a level above?
We got past Darwin's level. Yeah, okay. I think as a striker, and when you watch him play, I think the reason, even if he weren't scoring goals and his link-up play was excellent, I think he would still play. But because his link-up play is not good enough at all, Tommy's smirking about. That's why he's going to go, and that's why we're looking at other strikers. But I do think he'll go this summer. It'll probably be the Saudi by the look of it. They'll probably come in for him. They went in for him in January, but we didn't then go at the time.
Napoli were looking at him, weren't they?
Yeah, Napoli have moved on now. They've got their new striker in. Yeah, they look like they got another striker in.
Napoli were never going to pay what we actually wanted. I was just waiting for that story to die.
I thought Liverpool would have just used them as a bargaining chip to get Osimhen. That's what I felt they would have tried to.
I don't think. Did you know the weird thing about Osimhen? That's a great point. No big club wants him. No big club wants him.
He's a mercenary, bro. He's not.
No big club wants him.
He's not in it for the love of the game. He's a businessman first.
So,
all right, then if we're gonna. We've lost firepower for a number of reasons. We're going to lose Darwin Núñez.
That's not losing firepower.
I don't know if that's firepower.
I'm not losing firepower there, am I?
And there's potential
that's like me looking at an armory and going, "Fuck me, pistol's gone." I've still got me fucking rail gun and me sniper and me ARs. But you know
what? Gun, man. That's about it.
Me shitty little 9mm that I don't even have.
Water pistol. He's a water pistol.
Oh no. Yeah.
Well, we might lose Diaz as well in that.
Yeah, both of them can go. Both.
I'm fine. I'm fine with Diaz.
I
can't hide that one. Dan, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, Dan.
Have a great weekend. Look after yourself, bro. Stay blessed. Stay blessed. Who comes into that forward line now? And it doesn't have to just be a striker. We can go winger because I know we're close to time. Who has got to be the target that Liverpool get over the line now to keep pace and extend the lead?
Liverpool, I think they go by 2 forwards.
Yeah, Ekitike.
I think they go by 2 forwards. I think they get Ekitike in. And I've still got this sneaky feeling they get Isaac at the end of the summer.
No.
That can't happen, Shane. Like, no.
I just think he's going to stay another year. I think he's going to stay another year.
With all these Saudi rumours of David Isaac as well.
They do that all the time, don't they, to try and unsettle them? Yeah, I don't know. I think Liverpool are using it as a because Newcastle were looking at Ekitike, and I think Liverpool are going, right, we'll take him, and they're just saying to Newcastle, look, either you step back or we'll take him or we'll unsettle him. You know what I mean?
You bullied them. I will say this: you bullied Newcastle.
Yeah, and brilliant.
It's
Madrid
stroke of genius, to be honest, because you bullied them.
But I don't think he's actually fully dead.
I don't think he's dead. No, I don't think he's dead. No.
I still think there's like a 5% probably too much. But basically, the only way it happens is if we like sort of box off the Ekitike thing and force them into a challenge of trying to find a new guy. And they can't get this new guy, and then they turn back to us and go, "Fuck, we might just have to bite the bullet, take all the money we can on Isak, at least get a guy through the door, then an Ekitike, but then we can tool around with other pieces."
They were looking at him for backup, though, weren't they? They're looking for backup.
They were looking at him to play alongside and whatever. It was never going to work. For me, they were looking at him and they were going, "Well, we might as well just grab him now for the year in advance." But I think the one that I'm most confident on us getting is actually Rodrigo. I think you don't send.
And a missionary. I think
a mission. Yeah. We sent a mission out to Madrid to negotiate for us. You don't do that if you're sitting there going, "Ooh, well, I'm a bit unsure about."
No, I think he's going to get him.
Yeah, there's been too much. I think there's
Diaz will have to go. Diaz will have to go. Sure.
Oh yeah, I think Diaz is going to buy.
I've made my peace with that.
Diaz will go and buy and that get done. And I think Liverpool then go and get.
Only on 55 pound a week.
If our front line is Rodrigo, Ekitike, and Salah, I'm taking out all day long.
And Gakpo backing them up.
And then Vert's in the 10
behind.
I think he has to stay as well. Yeah.
He
has to play football to even have a sniff of getting into that Italian squad as well.
And what about Doak? Is Doak still with you, or have you sold him?
Yeah. But I don't know what
he's still there.
I'm a big Ben Doak fan.
I know you are.
He's good, man. I think he's really good.
I just think ultimately, look, what I was never really sold on Ekitike, and then I sort of changed my. I watched a bunch of
them yesterday. I've not seen enough of them, bro. I've not seen.
Tell
me.
I love the guy. I love the guy.
I went into it with the basis that everyone who watched them told me, "Oh my god, you're getting baby Isak. The number says baby Isak. This, that, the other." So I watched a bunch of them yesterday and I went, "That's not Isak. I'm not watching Isak here. I'm watching someone who doesn't have the same clinical nature of him. I'm watching someone who doesn't have the same killer instinct." And then I sort of changed my mind and went, well, what if I'm watching it as a different player then? Let's just ignore the Isak comparison.
Isak didn't have it when he came, though, either.
Yeah,
Isak
I was just going to say.
Yeah, so I think it's play style. I don't even think it's just whether he's got it as a player or not. I think it's play style. I think Ekitike is closer to a Roberto Firmino than he is an Isak. And when I look at him from that light, I'm sitting there going,
hey, you pricked my ears up. I'm listening. I'm listening.
I like the idea of him being the Firmino.
I think he does have a more.
He's got striking instincts, but he's got that Firmino style to him where he wants to drop. He's got that wonderful
link up play very good.
Like, I look at João Pedro more of like a Firmino. Like
João Pedro
to me.
Tom, no. Again, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. He is my wild card to have an absolute belter. He's a player, bro. He just is. I'm after. He's the one that got away. He genuinely is for me.
Well, we will come back to this Red Cartel at some point in 2026 June, and I will sit here and say, "Oh, his 8 goals this season were really good, weren't they?" Oof.
But he'd be more like a Firmino now. João Pedro would be. He'd be very like Firmino. He's a very Firmino-esque player, João Pedro.
I think when you look at Ekitike, because I've watched Ekitike quite a bit, and if you look at Ekitike at 22 and you look at Isak at 22 when he was at Dortmund, they're very similar. You know, they're very similar at that age. Obviously, Isak is now 26, 27, and he's moved on in his career and he's developed into a different player. But, you know, Isak, they move very similarly. They got the way they run with the ball is very similar. The way they link up play is very similar. I don't think Ekitike is ever going to be a better goal scorer than Isak, though. But I've always said this: you can be a world-class number 9 without being the best goal scorer at the same time.
Bobby Firmino was
I think why Liverpool are really looking at Ekitike is because his link-up play is extremely good. You know, he can drop deep. He's got good athleticism. He's got good pace. He moves well with the ball. His link-up play is really good, especially with a 10 behind him.
And Jamie,
which we're going reverts.
To add to that point, if our wide men are going to be the final ball anyway,
so Salah's
it makes sense. It's what I'm saying. It makes sense that then you don't necessarily need the killer through the middle.
Well, if he's dropping deep, Salah and Rodrigo, I say, can.
That's why I'm so certain on Rodrigo. That's why the whole debate across the last couple of days of Rodrigo or Gordon. I'm looking at it going, if you're buying Hugo Ekitike, Anthony Gordon's not what you need on that left hand side, because Anthony Gordon doesn't have that killer instinct that Rodrigo does. Rodrigo, I would back to get 20 plus goals. I couldn't back Gordon to do that. And when you've got Ekitike and you've got Wirtz, who are going to be dropping in together alongside each other, doing link-ups, and then feeding the ball to the wingers or feeding the ball to the fullbacks who are going to be bombing on and then cutting it back, the system is made to maximise your 2 biggest goal threats, which are your right winger and your left winger. If we'd got Isak, I think the system would have changed and we would have went back to what we'd done in 23-24, where stupidly, because he wasn't very good, we built an entire system which focused on feeding Darwin Núñez the football. So if you get Isak, all of a sudden that works a lot better because Alexander Isak knows where the back of the net is and can finish a lot more chances. But because we're not doing that, I think you're going to see us stick to somewhat of what we've done last year. A lot less reliance on just Salah for all the
That's
output.
what it is. I mean, that's my only concern is, you know, we're stepping into the unknown with getting rid of and obviously losing a number of players in that front line. The emphasis becomes even more heavily weighted on Salah maintaining that level a year older than what he currently is. Do you know what I mean? It's a big ask because as Liverpool fans, we should be able to give Salah the grace when that eventual drop off and he has that 15 goal a season for us happens. We should be able to say that's still fine because you've been holding it down for the best part of a decade. And someone else has to pick up the mantle. That's where I'm a little bit worried. That's why I said to Jamie before, Rodrigo would be my choice because like Tom's just said, I'd have faith that you would then at least say, I'm going to step out of all the Galactico shadows and I'm going to become a superstar myself now in my own right. I'm just a little bit apprehensive at the moment. And I haven't seen Ekitike enough. So I'm trusting you guys to sell him to me. And if you're talking a little bit of Roberto Firmino, I
just liken him to a Roberto Firmino style in an Alexander Isak body.
frame. Okay.
If Roberto Firmino was 6'4" and built like a twig, then yes, that's basically
that's how I compare myself to Brad Pitt. Exactly the same way.
Same with me and Idris Elba. Yeah, man.
I see it. You know.
But there's still over 360 views watching. We're a couple of likes away from doing. Oh no, we've just done over 100 likes, which means people are actually fixing up. Thank you very much. Make sure you do run it up. Make sure you share the content as well, lads. I could do these conversations for hours. We do them week in, week out. But I just wanted to get some final thoughts from you. Big expectations. We've talked about big players, big expectations. Shane, I know you kind of dampened the expectation for Arsenal, but provided you get Gyökeres.
Kind of.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Yeah.
I was in Europa League football for Arsenal this season. I think that's slightly more than a bit dampening.
Well, on the basis that you get Gyökeres over the line now as well, what is a realistic expectation for Arsenal? We know as rival fans what you should be putting the pressure on, but what is the realist in you saying?
As I said before with Gyökeres, a lot of these fans seem to think that, you know, it's like a computer game. You sign the striker we've needed and all the other problems go away. And as I mentioned, there's 8 players coming back from major surgeries. The injuries are going to be not as big next season, but they'll definitely be more niggly. There'll be a lot of players in and out of the team. The squad's already too small. A couple of injuries down, and we've got Norgard starting in midfield. You know what I mean? It's not going to work. I think that the heavy start will do us in, as in we'll fall so far behind early that the pressure will grow, and Arteta doesn't like pressure. And the thing with Gyökeres is, like I said, he needs 2 number 10s behind him, i.e. Amarin's system. And United did sign 2 players that I wanted, actually. I wanted Cunha and Mbeumo for us. I thought they would have been good signings. But whenever, with him, he has to be fed through the middle. It's not wing play that feeds him. And, I mean, Odegaard, people say, now he finally has someone to make runs for him. Okay, but he has Haaland for Norway, and he still plays terrible for them. You know, Odegaard's not a very good player. Declan Rice is going to have to cover a lot more ground next season because Zubimendi's going to get overwhelmed. I can see him dropping with a major injury at some point, i.e. a hamstring or something like that. But my expectations are, I have none. It's the first, I got slated for this on X and stuff. I'll put it up. I said to him, I've been supporting Arsenal for nearly 40 years. This is the lowest I felt going into a season. And he started naming off all these other seasons. You know, what about this one? I said, no, like, what about 95? I said, what do you mean? We just signed Bergkamp that summer. I was walking on air, you know what I mean? But this is the lowest I felt. I have absolutely no enthusiasm. It's all down to the manager, of course. And it's the worst place in the world to be in as someone that adores your club to the point where you lose sleep the night before games and stuff like that. To want your manager out and still love your club is the worst place in the world to be. Any real fan will tell you that. It's when you come to the point where you want your manager out, but you still love your club, it's a horrible place to be in because you want them gone, but you still want your team to do well, and it's just a rotten place to be in. But I have no expectations. Like I said, he bins off the cups. We're talking about building the squad up so we can compete on 4 fronts. Even if we get in the 6 players that we're close to getting now, and even a 7th, like we lost 3 of them on free transfers already. We lost Tomiyasu, we had to let him go. It looks like we're going to sell Trossard. It looks like we're going to sell probably Kivior. And last season, we had a squad of 22. So we're still going in with a squad of about 23, 24 maximum. And with a manager who doesn't rotate anyway, the injuries are going to pile up. So, and Jesus isn't back till after Christmas. If he's ever fit again, I don't think he will be. So I think that next season is going to be one of the worst seasons it will be the worst season under this manager. And we won't finish we finished 10th in my time before, but we won both cups, being in 93. But I just have zero hope going into this season. I think the players have turned. I think that there's no feel-good factor there. I think the crowd will be there and thereabouts because they're all sort of top gooners and they support the manager and not the club, which again is a nasty place to be in. But I genuinely think we'll finish. It's terrible. But I think we'll finish outside the top 4. I think we'll go out of both cups. And the Champions League would probably get knocked out in the first knockout stage. But if he's gone by Christmas, say, which I don't think he will be, then I think top 4 will be back on if we got in a top manager with the squad of players we have. But I have zero hope going into next season. Absolutely none.
Well, let me ask the rest of the lads. Arsenal get Gyökeres. What should be the expectation for Arsenal?
Well, we've been told they're only missing a striker, so Champions League, Premier League, isn't it? Like they got to go for everything because that's what we've ever heard. They missed a striker. There's all getting strikers in, but there's the right profile of striker, and I don't think Gyökeres' profile suits Arsenal.
No, that's what I was going to say. The striker market and the left wing market is piss poor at the moment in terms of versatility. They are very one-dimensional, and they either fit your club or they don't. Be interesting to see. Sheik, what's your expectation for Manchester United this season coming ahead?
I don't know where to start. Finish top half of the table, I guess. So let's start off from there, or Ruben Amorim win 2 back-to-back games, because we didn't even do that last season. But realistically, I will say it's the reality of it, though, Errol. This is really just what it is. Like
never thought I'd hear that. Win back-to-back games and we'll be okay.
I am a very I see this stuff all the time. You know, like some fans on Twitter and here and there, they see a couple of pictures of just 3 players and they're like, we're going to win the league. They see Casemiro is not overweight one summer and they're like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I just, I'm as realistic as it gets. But realistically, I will say this, I still have to see the rest of the window. I still have to see who we get rid of. I still have to see who some of these other players that do come in. I was about the attack, though. I think our attack has improved a lot, because I know for sure whichever striker we do get will score more than 44 goals as a team. That's one thing that I just know for sure. And I think attack will be part of that as well. But let's see if we end up getting, let's say we get a goalkeeper and a striker and a midfielder. Why not aim for around the top 6? Why not? I think we can. We're playing 1 game a week. I don't know if people really realize that 1 game a week does help you out quite a lot. You don't need to have, a second squad for Europe, and the chances of injuries and stuff is quite slim as well. So aim for it. Try to get some sort of, European football, just like the other United fan was saying as well. Is like try to get some sort of European football, and then we go from there. And Ruben Amorim has to be able to change things around. I think his stubbornness will lead to him leaving this club if he continues to be that way. So. We'll see. I say top half of the table for now, just based off of who we have currently right now. But if we do end up getting those signings in those positions, then yeah, why not aim for the top 6? Why not?
Okay. Jamie, I think you like myself, but they're expecting more silverware for Liverpool next season. We've got our eyes set on retaining the Premier League. Lads, I just want to say thank you, everybody in the comments as well. Thank you for getting engaged. Thank you for getting involved. Make sure you do drop a like on the stream. I just want you guys to just give a big shout out to your channels as well. And please, if you do watch any of these guys and their content, make sure you are subscribing to their channels. Make sure you are supporting them across socials. I'll start with you, Shane. If you want to go first, mate, give everyone a little bit of a plug.
Yeah, man. First off, thanks for having me on. Absolute pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Big up to everybody on the panel and all the legends in the chat. Yeah, Shane Gooner. You'll find me, Shane Gooner. I have a breakfast show, the Full Irish Breakfast, every morning at 10:30. I have a panel show then on a Thursday night and stuff like that. But the main one would be the Full Irish every morning at 10:30. But yeah, head over to Shane Gooner, hit the sub if you want, and make sure you smash the likes up for this legend as well. But again, absolute pleasure, and thanks for having me on.
No, I appreciate your time every time, brother. Thank you very much for joining us. I really did. I didn't expect some of the hot takes, but I'm here for it. I am absolutely here for it, man. I love that. Sheik, let people know what you're up to, channels or socials you want people to follow you on.
Yeah, same thing. I just want to echo, thank you for having me on, Errol. You've given me, so many opportunities to be part of this great show, the Red Cartel over here on this channel. So big up to the panelists, big up to, everyone in the chat. Make sure you guys are running up the likes, subscribing, and supporting everyone. You guys can find me on Sheik TV. I'm on the road to 1K. I think I'm less than 50 subscribers away from 1K. So we're trying to get there as soon as we can.
Boys and girls in the chat, let's run it up.
And yeah, I try to do United content every now and then. I did one show today, which was the whole Brian and Mbeumo to Manchester United, and I do have a show every single Monday, which is called the Mud Brothers Show, which has consists myself, a United fan, Arsenal fan, we have a Chelsea fan, we have a Tottenham fan. It's just a little banter here and there, normal panelist show. But yeah, Sheik TV is where you guys can find me on YouTube. And thank you for having me on, Errol. Appreciate it, bro.
Awesome, bro. And I appreciate your time. I know you're over in the States as well, so I appreciate you checking in with the UK gang. There's no beef over this side, UK, US. None of that rap beef's happening over here. We're all good. It's all love. Jamie, let people know where they can find some of your content as well. Thank you for joining us. A couple of debuts on the Cartel show tonight. So thank you very much for your time, brother, as well.
No, yeah, appreciate you bringing me on. Absolutely loved it, and meeting all you guys and everyone. Beautiful. Yeah, Jamie Phillips Football Chats, where you can find me, all Liverpool chat every single day of the week. And yeah, all Liverpool stuff, guys. So yeah, if you fancy it, come on over.
Big up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody, wherever you're watching and tuned in from, has enjoyed the show. But importantly, wait there very quick because we did have some super chats as well. I'm terrible at this kind of stuff. But just as anyone's seen Ekateke's last 20-shot video surfing around, it looked bad, to be honest. I heard someone tweeting about it before, but I haven't looked. I don't really check.
What was his 100 shots like that before?
Yeah, before that. So who knows? And then there was another one. Flamengo under 20s is leading 4-0 against Bayer Leverkusen, and it's half time now. 10 Hag strikes again as the genius. Unfortunately, he's now gone from United. So can't walk around like a bad smell.
I hope Gerald Kwanzaa weren't playing in that game.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, Twitter will let us know now as well. Anyway, but ladies and gents, go enjoy your weekend. Go touch some grass. Get out there. Go hug your loved ones. Tell the people that matter to you why they matter to you. Spread some love, spread some positivity, spread some good energy and vibes, and put it out there into the universe. And let's all pray that Arsenal do some serious business. So next time I speak to Shane, he's got a smile on his face. Right, love that, ladies and gents. Over and out, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.